Welcome back to SportSense. This is the sports show for sports noobs, where each week we break down the most talked about sports news for people who don't care to keep up with sports. I'm Cooper Epps, and as always, I'm here with my dad, James Epps. How's it going, Dad?
Good, Coop. It's good to be here.
Good to have you. Well, before we jump into it, I just want to remind everybody that we always put the time codes in the episode notes below, so that if you want to jump to a specific topic, you just go click on one of those time codes. So go ahead and skip to whatever you like. And with that, let's get into it.
It's time to get some
Sports Sense.
You're gonna get some
Sports Sense.
You better get ready for
Sports Sense.
Sports
Sense.
I got one family tidbit. 100 years ago, your Grandpa Epps was born today.
Whoa. I forgot
Think
it was
about
his
that.
birthday. I should have texted you. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
today's his birthday. Yeah,
Oh my
1925.
gosh.
Fascinating. And I
Wow.
was talking to your sister today. We're just talking about what that generation and especially him being born before the Depression. But just think of the advances he saw in almost 90 years, just like your other grandpa, Keaton, saw in
Yeah.
90 years. What they lived through. I mean, both started, especially well, my dad particularly had and I think your other grandpa did, no inside running water, no toilet, I mean, that's
my
what you started
gosh.
with. Definitely
Really? In
no
1925, there's
automobile.
no running water?
Not in the not where they lived, in
What
the
the
very
heck?
rural, poor South
Yeah.
in North Carolina. Yeah, the
My
outhouse.
gosh.
They'd bring in pots of water, and anyway, definitely outhouse for a long time. I don't even know if he ever had one on the inside before he even left home
Wow.
through the
Wow.
Depression. Anyway, fascinating. And then think about every technological advance that occurred from that point on. I mean, especially when it flew through the 90s, especially in the 90s and the
Mhm.
early 2000s, from mobile phones to smartphones to internet, all that, the speed at
Yeah.
which it blew through, is pretty cool.
It's
And
been
I thought both kept up with it pretty well, especially Grandpa Keaton, technologically
yeah.
speaking. It's pretty amazing. But isn't that crazy to think about that span of time and world history?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just want to acknowledge my dad today and how cool that is, and that he was born 100 years ago.
I miss him. He was he much of an athlete back in his day?
Well, he didn't, as you say,
Besides,
he didn't get a chance to because he rode a bike out 30 or 40 miles a day to deliver newspapers just to put a little food on the table. His
man.
mother was a single mom. He didn't get a chance to he had to work all the time, either school or work all the time, and to
Yeah.
help bring enough in at home. Yeah.
And then but of course later in life he became quite the marathoner.
Yes.
So that's pretty
That was
amazing.
his. Yeah. Yeah. And he ran
22 completed ones?
I think, yeah, 22, I think. But
Yeah.
he had been once he started the North Carolina Highway Patrol, that's where he saw a sergeant running around a track one day in the 50s and thought, what's he doing? So he asked him. And so he started in the late 50s jogging. He had
Wow.
shoes for about a decade that were plastic soled Kmart specials, canvas Kmart specials. That's what he ran on
Gosh.
until the 70s, and Phil Knight came up with Nike and the waffle iron shoe and all that. He was one of the first ones
Yeah.
to get those in the area. So anyway, kind of cool.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
That's cool. That's cool. That really is amazing because, well, just if you haven't read Shoe Dog, the book about Phil Knight with Nike, just people listening, it's really fascinating because at the time jogging, it was such a odd thing. It's like probably how you look at no, you like yoga, Dad. Maybe how like you would have looked at yoga 20 years ago.
Yeah. Or
Just
30 years ago.
what
Yeah.
yeah, what are you people doing? It was such an oddity, and it was such a niche group of people that would just go out just to run for running's sake. And
Right.
and so it's cool that Grandpa was, even before the Nike boom, he was doing it. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
He
he's
was a
12,
pioneer.
13, 14 years before that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, love you, Grandpa. And
Yeah.
let's get into the rest of our episode. So, Dad, as always, and this will lead. Pay attention, everybody, because this will lead to kind of a little bit of our story in a little bit. But for our sports speak term of the week,
learn some sports speak.
we have the term over under. So, Dad, Would you care to enlighten us on what people are talking about when they talk about the over-under?
Yeah, the over or the under. Over. Yeah, it's simple. It's all about sports betting. So whatever the sport is, and right now we're in football. So the example would be Vegas generally sets all the different sports books. They call them books. Vegas, they'll refer to. I'll set a total point for a game. So one football game, be it the Rams versus the Lions, and the total points on the books is 40. You have a chance to bet that those two teams, that's combined, between the two teams, they will score at least 40 points. Now, you've got two betting opportunities on that if you want to bet. You bet the over if you think those two teams will generate more than 40 points. If they between the two teams score at least 41 points or more, you win the bet. If they score 40 or less, you lose the bet if you're betting the over. But at the same time, if you don't think they're going to score, they got injuries this week, they got problems with their offense, you think they're not going to score 40 points total between the two teams adding together, and you bet the under, and they score not 39 points or less, you win. So you can bet the over and the or the under, or the under. So it's always a Vegas, whoever's the gambling organization sets a point total, and you bet the over or the under if you want to take that bet.
You're saying the anticipated point total, what they think is going to be statistically.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep. So it's that simple. It's one of the most simple bets you can have, other than an outright win or lose, and a lot of people bet it.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. So is that a common entry point for people to get into sports betting, is just doing that because it's so easy?
I think next to betting who wins and loses, and then you're given points, right? Either you're given points or you have points. That's the plus or minus you see. We won't talk about that, but I think we've talked about it before. Those are the two most common, I think. Who's going to win or lose, and you get either you're the underdog team and you might get 3 points, or you're the favorite team and you might give 3 points. That betting, and then the over and under of total points scored, would be a very, very common original early simple bet.
Okay.
For the simple folks.
Yeah, for the simpletons like me who have never bet. I've thought about it just for kicks, just throwing $5 towards something for one of our episodes, but I know you'll disapprove, so I can't do that.
We can't do it for ours. Yeah, you can do you do you, but yeah, I do not bet on games, horses. So I have confessed this to you before, and so I maybe shouldn't do it on air. I was at a nationwide management wholesaling meeting in Columbus. One of the activities, they always used to take us to ball games like Columbus Blue Jackets, like I've told you before, ball games, events. Well, they took us to a horse betting facility, beautiful horse track. Oh yeah. We had dinner. It was really fun. The horses were beautiful. I was watching the races, and this guy said, "You've got to bet something. You cannot come here and not bet." I said, "Well, I don't bet." He goes, "Okay, I'll make a deal with you." He said, "I am running a charity run tomorrow morning." I forgot what charity organization. It was just a community one with his family. They were organizers, and they were raising money for a charitable organization. He says, "You take your $20," and he said, "and we're going to go place a bet. I'm going to go with you. And then if you win anything, you just give it to the charity." I said, "I'm fine with that. I'll donate." I feel like I'm donating $20 to your cause.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, I played. There's a win, place, and show, I think, is how the top 3 spots go. Either way, whatever bet I did, I made like $270. I said, "You take the ticket." I said, I don't want to touch that money. And he goes, "You want your $20 back?" I said, "Nope. I told you I was donating my $20." So that's my foray into management team building situation that I did.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, he loved it. He took that and donated it to the cause the next day for their fundraiser.
I think you have told me that, but I forgot it. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, better to finish on top than spiral downwards into
right
crippling debt.
So that's yeah. So I don't touch that.
Well, really helpful, honestly, because I've heard that term my entire life. Just when ESPN's on the TV, people are watching the game, and I hear people mention the over under, and some number, made zero sense to me this whole time. So that
Right.
was very enlightening. So
Good.
listeners, yeah, thanks, Dad, and listeners, keep that in mind as we go into this first story, because we're going to talk about college football now. And there was a big game that you didn't mention last week, Dad, but it's quite a rivalry. Would you call it a rivalry
Yes.
between?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitively yes.
Okay. By definition, this was
Mississippi So yeah, but I'm saying the two states. This is huge down there. Yeah.
Yes, LSU versus Ole Miss. Are they both in the SEC too?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So big conference matchup as well as a bitter
Correct.
rivalry. Now here's what's
Yes.
interesting. We could consider this mailbag too, because my brother-in-law Brody and his wife Lexi told me about this. So thanks, guys. But here's the drama. Okay, this is the stuff I like, Dad, that you're not as into.
Right. So I'm gonna close my eyes for a moment, relax, and you tell the story.
Yeah, you take a nap.
But I did know this story. I hate to say it because it did make national news still. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's big. It's talked about. So the head coach of Ole Miss, his name is Lane Kiffin. He has a daughter named Landry Kiffin. She's a 20-year-old student at Ole Miss. So she's, she should be loyal to Ole Miss with her dad coaching and just being a student there. But there's there's trouble in the water when she announced
plot twist.
Plot twist. She the week leading up to this rivalry huge game posted a big announcement. She's trying to be Taylor Swift, that she was dating the star linebacker of LSU. His name is Whit Weeks. And so that stirred up, of course, a bunch of press. Lots of theories. People were going on about who's she going to root for, what she's going to wear, So if you care about that, there's all that stuff online. But she, it's still in question because she wore kind of a neutral dress, but had a little number 40, which is Whit Weeks' number, kind of stickered onto it somewhere. And so it kind of, people are like, oh, she's going for LSU. And then after the game, when we find out that Ole Miss won, she was seen on the sidelines celebrating. So still, it's a little, she's just kind of a house divided within herself at the moment, is what it seems. So Landry, good luck as you navigate these complicated waters. And Dad, do you have any other things to say about this?
No, amen and amen. We'll close it out there. I think it's just funny. Lane Kiffin, I do know a lot about. He's a former NFL coach also. His father was a famous coach. So it's kind of hilarious. He's funny. He's glib and funny and smart guy. And so I think it's hilarious that this has happened, and he will make the most of it, I'm sure, at the next family meal when he's got old Whit sitting at the table with him. Whit will be paying a price, I'm sure. So anyway, I think that's part funny. It couldn't happen to him. He's the right coach to have that happen. He'll make it funny and family, and it'll be funny.
Well, I don't know. As a son-in-law, and I'm not experienced as a father-in-law yet, but I kind of wish that Whit had won and been able to prove his manhood to his potential future father-in-law, But I like that Lane put him in his place as his daughter's boyfriend. I think that's probably better.
Yeah,
for the better.
Yeah, I think that's the side I'm on. So
I didn't bring it back to the point of over under though, which is apparently on the announcement post. Coach Kiffin commented on the announcement saying, "Take the over." That was his only comment, and I have no idea what it meant. And so, anyways, that we talked about it. So basically, he was just kind of teasing Whit, I guess, saying, "Let's bet that we're all going to score a bunch of points and get over the
something to that effect." Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was more of a ribbing, but after you defining over under to me, I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. He was just kind of being.
I do think he was messing with him. Yeah, I think he was just messing with him for sure.
But Okay, there we go. So
All right.
let's go on.
Fun.
Let's go on to our next story. So yeah, Tom, there's a man who dreamed of being a college football player his whole life, but career got in the way, family got in the way.
Never went to college. Yeah.
Never didn't go to
Before.
college. Not that those things got in the way. It's just that those things, his life happened, right? And anyways, so now he's 58 years old. This man is named Tom Cillo, I think is how you pronounce his name, and he is the oldest college football player ever, besides a couple kickers in the 2010s. I read
Yeah.
about both their
Mhm.
stories, and they're kind of like, they went out and did a kick, and it was almost charity in a way. But this guy,
Right.
he's like a power lifter. He's actually he's strong and he can play. He's not playing at a big
So-
school, but I wanted to bring up this story because it's just really interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Fascinating. No, so additional deep dive on the powerlifting. He holds the international record for the deadlift for his age,
Oh my gosh.
55 and above, and or
Okay.
whatever the somewhere around there. And he could deadlift 580 pounds. So this is no shrinking violet.
gosh.
He is a beast, especially from his lower half and so he is a beast. A little deeper dive. Maybe you can help me pronounce it. He is a freshman at I think it's Lycoming,
Yeah.
Lycoming College. So that's a D3 school. That's about the lowest. You can go one more little lower level in college football. But here's the cool part. It's in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. What else is Williamsport, Pennsylvania known for? It's a Little League World Series. Yeah, Little League World Series every year in the summers. Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And the university is one of the oldest liberal arts colleges, founded in 1812.
Holy
1,200
cow.
students. So it's pretty cool
During the war.
university. Yeah. I mean, that's the War of 1812. That's good.
Yeah.
Good, Cooper.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was all pretty impressive, and he is dead serious. He wants to stay in college, complete it, so he can. He's going to get a degree in criminal justice. Right? Isn't that what it said? I think the article.
Yeah.
So he wants to go to all 4 years. He's going to try to play, and the funny part. You want to tell the funny part about the NIL deal he got?
Yeah, well, and Brandon, who's been on the podcast, works at the agency that facilitated this, but he's the oldest player ever to get an NIL deal, which, if you know, we've talked about on the podcast before. It's college players can get paid for sponsorships now, and endorsements, and so he got he got a deal with Asper Cream, which I had to look that up. I guess it's kind of like
I
Icy
know what
Hot.
it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like Icy Hot. That's their big thing. It doesn't
Okay.
smell, but yes,
But it
I
has the
know
same
Asper
effect.
Cream. Yes.
Okay. So pretty funny. I read his endorsement thing is something about how you can still be gritty and tough even at my age with a little bit of Asper Cream or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, the funny part is they did not divulge the dollar amount, but they did divulge because they did pay him some money. But they did divulge and give that he was guaranteed 4 years worth supply of Asper Cream while he plays free, while he plays college football.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
So, way to go, Tom. That's what I'll say to you from your brothers that are older than you, but still very impressed.
Well, yeah, very cool. Cool. Well, that's our. Did you have any other college football news?
Nope.
From last
that's
week?
all I really have. Yep. I mean, we had last week. We had a game last week, but
yeah. Who? Oh, gosh,
who was our big game? Oh, before Let's talk about that briefly, right? Because that's just briefly.
I'm pulling it up. It was Auburn versus Oklahoma. That's who you had listed.
What?
Right? What?
I gave you 2 games.
Oh, or maybe was that?
No, the big game was it's Oregon, number 3 Oregon versus at Penn State.
Oh,
number 6 Oregon versus Penn State.
My notes must be messed up, but yes, Oregon Penn State. I did hear about this one, so
yes.
So did you see the?
So again, I like to give you a game. I like to give you the big game and then tell you it's a freakish, unbelievable game, right? If they were so boring, it would be terrible, which my big game and the pro game was kind of What else
Yeah.
did you see? What did you see on before I give you
Well,
the nitty gritty?
just while we just help me paint the picture here for why this was a big game. I will say, well, let me just tell you the only thing I saw before you go, which was that there was a image going around that Penn State had posted a thing on Instagram saying whites only for their whiteout
Yes.
night, and so people were.
Yes.
But I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was fake because I combed through their Instagram,
Yeah.
and I know they could have replaced it, but they had one that said like, wear white. Is what I
Right.
saw, like something normal.
I never saw. I think on the normal, I never saw anything, but you see a lot more than I do. I think somebody's messing with that.
Yeah, I think it was just photoshopped and it spread like wildfire, of course, because it's so
yeah,
funny.
that is
but,
not what I've ever seen because they do this every year for one game, and
Yeah.
it's a big deal to have the white out game.
Yes.
Anyway,
So anyways, it was a
yeah.
whiteout game, and so I saw pictures of the guys dressed, the game day people, all in their white suits and ties.
Yeah,
They looked like, well, well,
I
yeah,
know.
they looked very
Yeah.
religious, I'll say.
Yes.
But
at least in
go
our
ahead and
world.
tell me more about why this was such a big game.
So huge. Well, number one, you've got two of the top 6 ranked teams in the country, both undefeated, and Oregon coming all the way across country to play at Penn State. And remember, we've talked about Penn State and that sadly, that horrible record that the head coach has of playing highly ranked teams. Do you remember? They were like, remember I told you they were like he's like 1-17 playing against other top.
Okay, that guy.
I mean, remember we talked about if he
Yeah.
could be 6-11 or 5-12. Well, here he is at home. He's the favored team. They're the favorite team, and it's the whiteout game of the year. So they lost. Penn State lost to Oregon. Oregon has I think he's a freshman quarterback. I don't know. He is cool as a cucumber, but they won in double overtime. So my big game of the week for college was unbelievable game, and they won, and Oregon won in double overtime. And it was another sad loss for Coach Franklin.
That poor coach.
At Penn State. So now that moved Oregon all the way up to being ranked number 2 this week in the country, and it dropped Penn State to number 7. But it was a crazy game, great finish, kept everybody on their seats, double overtime. I mean, it was so cool. But that's what happened. That's the result. So I thought that was a pretty good big game. And that I don't think we don't have that many big games to choose from this week, but we'll talk about that from college.
Okay, let me quiz you on something really quick. Quick Pops quiz. Do you know what the biggest college football stadium in the country is?
Oh my gosh. See, this is close. Penn State has 110,000 fans, seats, 110,000. So it's got to be, it's them or Michigan or Ohio State at the Horseshoe. I thought the Horseshoe was about 107,000. It's Michigan or Penn State.
You're all over it. Yeah. Well, okay. Final answer for the biggest. What would
Michigan?
Would it be?
Michigan.
Okay, you got it. Yeah, nice job. Okay, so I was arguing about this with my in-laws yesterday, because I thought you had told me Ohio's was the biggest for some reason. Anyways, and then I got in trouble. So we were Googling it, and yep. So it's Michigan at 107,600. Then Penn State Stadium, just 1,000 below that at 106,000.
Yeah, they try to say there's 110 there because they put extra plates, standing room only. Anyway, they love arguing this point, but I felt officially, yes, Michigan.
Okay, so official capacity.
Boy, it's close.
Yeah. And then Ohio Stadium is at just shy of 103,000. So,
and then Tennessee is probably next. If you have that, I bet
Tennessee is a couple down. Tennessee's number 6.
Who's next?
You got Texas A&M number 4.
See, I don't think of them. Yeah,
and then LSU number 5.
See, I didn't know that about LSU. Wow, isn't that crazy? That is crazy.
No, yeah. Well, and then my in-laws were telling me that the Penn State Stadium is like way far away from campus. Did you know this?
Yeah.
So okay, and how apparently people will take their RVs and just camp around the stadium for the weekend.
Yeah, it's just
army of RVs.
Well, State College Station, is that what it's called? No, that's Texas.
Yeah.
State College, Pennsylvania. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Look
where
the
the stadium is, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then the stadium's just on the outskirts, out there in the middle. It's
Oh, I
all
see
in the
what you're
middle
saying.
of nowhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, pretty cool.
So kind of
Pretty
cool. Okay.
cool.
Well, good. Yeah. Well,
That's it for
another
college. That's all I
another
got.
great big game pick from Dad. Well done.
I feel pretty good about that one.
Well,
I think all
we've
right.
got 2 more big segments to talk about. Do you want to go to golf or NFL?
Let me do the golf real quick, and then we'll do the NFL review and then go straight to the big games. How's that?
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So let me
All right.
introduce this, which is there was an event that just kind of popped up out of nowhere, seemingly to me. You didn't mention it last week to me. So, hey, what
Well,
the
we don't
heck?
have time to cover. You told me I was supposed to hit. This is big to me
Well,
because I pay attention to it every other year. But
well, and I thought we were done with golf, but all of a sudden, I'm hearing things and seeing memes about this Ryder Cup, RYDER Cup, like Flynn
correct.
Rider
We
from
were done
Tangled,
with
right?
individual golf. We're done with individual golf. This is team. This is a team
All right,
event
well-
every other year.
Okay, yeah. Explain the Ryder Cup.
Well, real quick, the Ryder Cup, there's the President's Cup, but we're just going to talk about the Ryder Cup. Ryder Cup is played every other year, and it's between the Europeans' best golfers and whoever they put on their team and the U.S. golfers. Every other year, it's in their home country. So, home country could be Scotland, Ireland, England, Great Britain, anywhere in that area. That's the European. They'll pick their host course that the US has to play on. US comes over here and they'll rotate it around the different courses, right?
Okay.
And this year the course is called Bethpage, which is an infamous, horrifically difficult course in Farmingdale, New York. So it's in New York.
Okay.
Right there, you got to figure. I'm leading you towards why this became really big news, and you were asking about. First of all, I was disgusted. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday are the team version. They have different formats, and it's really cool. But we aren't going to get into all that. But there's team formatted, right? Friday and Saturday. Sunday, they all go against each other, match up head to head, 1-on-1, mano a mano.
So like they go in sets of 2, an American and a European, and
exactly it's straight against each other.
Okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
The other 2 days are team like events, 2 against 2, and they do different formats. Well, I gotta be careful what word we were horrific. We were terrible. They were smoking us. We were so far behind. I didn't think we had a chance to come back.
Oh my goodness.
But we did make a great run back on Sunday fairly, and we lost 15 points to 13 points, which is not real close in that world on that tournament, but they made it close enough to be respectable. So here's the news that was made. And this is what TV coverage loves. This is what internet loves, ESPN, anybody loves, right? Is that some of the golfers got at each other, number one, but even bigger than that, 2 of the caddies got at it, and the golfers had to separate 2 of the caddies.
Like fisticuffs?
Well, not quite, but shoving, grab a hold. They were getting ready to knock down, drag out.
Oh my goodness.
But the worst and the most embarrassing part for our country is those fine fans of New York, gotta love them, were very almost abusive to some of the top players, particularly Rory McIlroy. They were foul language, they were abusive, but the bad part is they crossed the line. They get to drinking. And these aren't bums going there. I think the tickets were $1,200, $1,500 a piece right across. So, but they start drinking and they open their mouths, and that's no offense, but I can't help but say it. It's like Philadelphia football fans, New York fans. I mean, they're just rude, and they think it's part of the game and fun, right? And by the way, Ryder Cups and all that is very different than individual tournaments you and I always talk about. Very different. Tournaments generally are very quiet. Everybody applauds, But Ryder Cup, it's pretty known to be
raucous,
verbally jousting and raucous, and it's some of that. But apparently they really got on Roy and started calling out his family, his children, and got real personal and super
goodness.
Ugly. And Roy got in it with some fans and cussing, and anyway, and the traditionalists of our golfers, some of our older golfers who have been great examples of great sportsmanship over the decades of playing the Ryder Cup, they have already come out and apologized for our fans, apologized for our country. It's an embarrassment. Don't want to, and I tell you what, I think they were bad enough that Bethpage might not get that tournament ever again. I mean, I think it was
Wow.
that bad.
Oh my goodness.
So
It's like
that's the story.
okay. It's like at the we were talking about the tennis Open, US Open a few weeks ago, right? Where you were
Yes.
saying that the New York fans were pretty lively at that
They're
event too.
brutal. Yeah, they're crazy. They're brutal. But this was, I guess, they went way over the top than they've ever done before. So
Wow.
that's the scoop.
Hey, you know, let me stick up for America a little bit though here and say that I don't know a lot about soccer, but I've seen some of the chants they do over in Europe. The soccer
Oh
fans
yeah,
do,
yeah,
and they are vile and mean and
yeah.
rude. Some of those I've heard. I'm not saying every soccer fan ever is that mean, but those fan bases can get
Yeah.
crazy
Oh
with the things
no,
they say.
you take your
Totally
life in your
unhinged.
own hand. Take your life on your own hands to go in that European soccer. Oh yeah, no, in Italian. Yeah, no,
So,
it's crazy. So, but
yeah,
this is supposed to be semi-respectful between countries. I don't know, but I do think, yeah, we did not represent ourselves reasonably well. And when you stink as bad as we did the first 2 days, it's even more embarrassing, right? If I'm a golf now, if we're smoking them by 20 points and we're gonna win easily, well,
say
maybe
whatever you want.
say
No,
whatever you
just
want.
kidding.
But we really stunk. Anyway, that's what all the extra press
Hubbub.
was. Yeah,
Okay.
hubbub. That's good. Good hubbubbing.
Okay. Yeah. I saw the headline. I think somebody even threw a beer at Rory's wife or something. Like I think it was
Yeah,
even
I
something
can't remember. I know
crazy.
they were. It was bad. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that went on.
So come on, New Yorkers, shape up.
We can do
So
better.
you're
We can do
saying
better.
so the Ryder Cup is every 2 years, and
Yes.
every other tournament they basically switch off who's home and who's away, right?
Correct.
This year is in America. Next
Right.
2 years from now, it's going to
Next
be in
year.
Europe.
So every 4
Okay.
years it'll be in the U.S. Does that make sense? Right?
Okay.
Once
So that
every
makes
4
it kind
years,
of it's like
yeah.
a big deal for
It's a big
when
deal.
it's every 4 years makes it. It's like
Big
the
deal for golf
Olympics.
fans who like team golf and who like U.S.
Yeah.
golf. And anyway,
Cool.
but we got beat.
All right. Well,
Got to deal with it.
well, we like Rory, so good for him. Okay. Well, let's move into our last sport with the NFL, the biggest, most talked about sport in America, right?
Yes.
So, which we recognize them for that. Well done. But
All right.
let's before we get into the big games, plural maybe. Let's talk about last week's big game just briefly because I actually watched a little bit of it this time.
Yeah.
And I was snoozing. I just walked away. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. So
Well,
tell us
see,
about it. It was
if
the
I had to-
Ravens
yes.
versus the Chiefs.
Yes, but you remember why I picked it as the big game, and I didn't know if it was going to be close or not. I really thought, but remember why we talked about it?
You said both teams were going to be clawing for victory, right? Just desperate for a win.
Because they're 1-2. Both of them were 1-2. 1 win, 2 losses. And for them to have a chance at the playoffs, whoever got that second win, went 2-2, got back to 500, had much better chance to make the playoffs. When you go 1-3, the odds are so stacked against you in this league. So yeah, and then I've got a little extra tidbit to go with the NFL before we do the big game. But I will review that. To me, what was exciting though, if I've kind of become a Andy Reid default Chiefs fan, next to the Panthers who got obliterated, but we won't talk about that. But it was fun to see that Mahomes, he got his ace receiver back. Well, one of it, they call him trick play, but he's so fast he can get past the defenders and I would say take the top off. Well, having him back from injury was a huge help, and that opened up. And I love seeing Mahomes come back and throw 4 touchdown passes and just kind of smoke the Ravens. The Ravens defense is not what it used to be, and they struggle. So Casey's offense got on track, and that was fun. So the big game was to pay attention. Now see if, especially I'm right here, whoever the winner was is going to go on and probably at least get a wild card, make the playoffs. So we'll track that and see how I do this year on that. But that, and and they beat them pretty darn good, man. What, 37-20.
Chiefs beat the Ravens.
Chiefs beat the Ravens. Now, bad news for the Ravens, about halfway through the third quarter, Lamar Jackson, their unbelievable quarterback, pulled a hamstring, got a hamstring injury. So they're not only going to be 1-3. It's a possibility they're going to be without their star quarterback, which is going to really hurt them badly. So this might be it could be a very down year for the Ravens, who many picked to be in the Super Bowl this year for sure.
Holy cow.
They were picked as one of the favorites. So that's just a little FYI. No big deal other than I loved it in the sense it was fun to see KC get back, the Chiefs get back on track. But again, the interest was these are two teams that everybody expects to be competing for Super Bowl, and they were both so deep in trouble that the one that came out with a win was going to, and I think that's exactly how Kansas City, by the way, played. They played desperate and like it was the playoffs, and it really was. I think the playoffs were at stake so early in the year, which creates an incredible intensity early in the year. Hence why I picked it as my big game last week. Now I got a little side note. I got a little side note for the NFL, and then I'll throw in this week's games. Side note is, and I had this number, and I think it's only been 5 times. It's been a very few times, but if you don't know it, the Green Bay Packers, you might not even think this is possible. The Green Bay Packers tied the Dallas Cowboys 40-40.
They finished the game with a tie?
Correct.
Yeah.
Did you know that
was possible? No.
It's in the NFL, it is possible in regular season games. All right.
Okay.
You ready for a quick lesson?
Yeah.
These are the NFL overtime rules for the NFL regular season game. At the end of regulation, both teams are tied, right? The referee will toss a coin. Visiting team will choose which one. We'll call the coin. The visiting, and that'll be the one, whoever gets the coin toss correctly gets the ball first. Now, here's the next point. No more. Now, they've changed these rules multiple times over the last 2 or 3 decades because they've had some bad overtime rules. The overtime rule was around for a while was they flipped a coin, whoever got the ball, and if they scored a field goal or a touchdown, game over, they won without the other team even getting the ball.
Oh, I would hate that.
They hated that.
Yeah.
So they've changed it. All right. So overtime, no more than one. This is regular season now, not playoffs. Playoffs, you got to have a winner. So they modified the rule for playoffs. But regular season, no more than 1 10-minute period will follow regulation. Each team must have the opportunity to possess the ball at least one time, right? The exception, I love this. Always got to have an exception. The exception, if the team kicking off starting the overtime period scores a safety on the receiving team's initial possession, which almost will never, ever happen, that team will actually win the game. Meaning a safety, if he kicks the ball out and the guy going to run the ball back fumbles it in the end zone or something, and the other team jumps on it, that's a 2-point safety. The game's over, they win. So that's going to be freakishly never happened. That I know it's ever happened. We'll get back to normal. Still regulation, it's regular season. After each team has had an opportunity to possess the ball one time, if one team has more points than its opponent, they win. It's over, right?
Sure.
If the team that possesses the ball first does not score in its initial possession, or if the score is tied after each team has had its opportunity to possess the ball one time each, the team that scores next by any method is the winner. Meaning, if both teams go out and they both score a touchdown, that means they tied. Then whoever scores in whatever fashion next wins.
Okay. Sudden death.
If the
kind of?
Yes.
No.
Kind of, but you got a 10-minute clock running.
Yeah.
You have a 10-minute clock running behind all of this. Each team gets 2 timeouts during that period. If the score is still tied after the 10 minutes is up, you got a tie ball game. So now all year we've got to look at rankings and standings of, in this case, Green Bay Packers 4 wins, 0 losses, 1 tie. So now there's going to be a 1 stuck out there in that stupid line for Green Bay and the Cowboys. And they scored 40 points. Stinking 40 points each. Wow. And they couldn't get a defense to get a stop. So I thought you might find that as interesting and unusual. It is very unusual. Very, 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 very few pro games end in tie. But remember, during the playoffs, they modify it.
I'm so glad you told me because I was bound to run into a TV where I saw those 3 numbers and I would have sounded so dumb asking somebody about why that was there. So thank you.
Yep. That's what we're sharing it for because it's so unusual.
So, okay, let me ask you this really quick. In hockey, they get points for the stand that put them in a certain place in the standings in the league.
Yes.
You get 2 points for winning a game, none for losing, of course, but you do get a point if you go into overtime, which
if
I
you
guess
tie
is
in regulation, right? You tie in regulation, right? You get a
yes,
point.
yep, time.
Yes.
That's a better way to put it. So, is there anything like that in football? Does it impact their rankings for better or for worse, or does it kind of canceled out for both of those teams?
It doesn't do it like the point total, but it most certainly counts. So let's say in your division, you end up, they play 17 games. You end up 10 wins, 7 losses in your leading division. And your other team has 10 wins and 6 losses and 1 tie. You're going to win the division because you got
Okay.
1 loss less, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so it matters. Or if somebody has if they're 11 and 6 and you're 11 and 5 and no 11
One.
no if you're 10 6 and 1 you're screwed because you're a half a game behind because you tied.
Okay.
You didn't get
It's
that
like,
other
it's
win.
half credit.
It is half
Okay.
credit. Yep. So it does
Interesting.
matter in terms of your divisional ranking and for wild card ranking. Yes.
Interesting. Well, yeah, for Green Bay, who's bound to be pretty good this year, we'll have to see if that impacts them at all.
Yeah, that one cost them. They really gave that game away. They shouldn't have lost. Anyway, so that's that. That was my big tidbit, but I want to throw in this for this week because it rarely happens, and we probably won't talk about it the rest of the year. But it will have an impact on rankings and standings for NFL. All right.
There is some drama there too because we talked about how Micah Parsons, the amazing player, got traded from Dallas to Green Bay. So.
Yeah. And Micah did get a sack right at the end of the game in overtime that basically kept Dallas from scoring to win the game. So he did secure the tie by his defensive play. So, yeah, you're right. A lot of drama. All right, big game, big NFL game this week. And
hold on. Let me introduce you. Here we go.
Yep.
The big game.
All right.
Sweet.
Take us away.
It's going to be one that's going to kind of want to go under the radar, but it shouldn't. Because there's not a lot. I think it's number one. Both teams are 3-1, which right now is really good. And I'm in terms of watchability and a team that you just want to watch because of their quarterback. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the team with Baker Mayfield as the quarterback. He is truly the comeback kid. It's crazy how he can direct a comeback week after week, usually deep in the game. Now this week they got so far behind they lost at the very end, but but they're playing at Seattle, who's 3-1. The reason I'm naming this the big game is because Seattle's quarterback, his name is Sam Darnold. So I call this it's the match of really 2 really good teams that have potential to be definitely way into the playoffs. And Sam Darnold's his first year there after he led Minnesota like 13-3 last year because he was the backup to their main quarterback that was drafted who got injured. Anyway, but Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield both bounced around the league early on. Sam Darnold got drafted I think these were both number 1 draft picks, and that's huge. And Baker got chewed up and spit out in Cleveland, even though he did pretty well, but they ended up watched him out there. Sam Darnold went to horrible places, and it's hurts my feeling over one of them. But one was the Jets is where he started, and he stunk because the Jets stunk, and they about killed his career. He went to Carolina and didn't stick in Carolina either because they didn't have a real. Keaton and I, your brother, loved him there, and he was pretty decent, but the team wasn't very good, so they didn't support him very well. They bounced him out. So and Baker's bounced around the 3 team. Baker went through, I think Baker went through Carolina too. So I mean, I'm calling it the rematch of the second chance career guys. These guys are doing great now, even though they were touted when they came into the league, and then they were thrown away with the evening's trash after 3 or 4 seasons for a while. They couldn't
Sad.
stick with a team. They were just backup. And now they have come on to be starters and highly successful. So it's kind of cool to see those two quarterbacks go against each other with 3-1 teams, good teams. And that should be a heck of a game. But anytime Baker's in there, he's a blast to watch. But Sam Darnold is just good and steady. So it's the QBs for the second chance careers. And I'm pulling for both of them in a way. But that's the big game for the NFL this week.
Cool. I can get behind that story. That's great.
Cool.
I guess both of all the teams they'd bounced around, they were hoping that bringing this great quarterback would probably elevate their team, right?
Right. Well, or they came in
But
as a backup, or they brought
okay.
a couple times they were brought in as backups, just because they
Hmm.
got to still give them a chance. But believe me, they were at the bottom there. Both of them, different times, were at the bottom of the NFL
Man.
quarterback pool for a while.
So they've been just gritty, just sticking with it for years
Yep.
to get to this point.
Just getting the opportunity to do it again, and now they're both killing it.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah,
love
pretty
it.
cool.
I know you want to sneak a college one in.
Yeah, and it's nothing special, so we're not even going to talk about it. It would have been special, but Florida State got upset by Virginia over the weekend. You remember they were super
Oh.
highly ranked, undefeated, and UVA, who NC State beat this year, who's not doing great, beat Virginia, but Virginia upset them. But it's because of where it is, and it's the national big game of the week Saturday night. It's number 3 Miami, who is still looking really good, against Florida State, but it should have been number 3 Miami against number 5 Florida State or number 6, but they choked and lost to Virginia last week. But that'll be a good game. That's a big televised game. I don't care, but I don't like either one of them. I can't stand either one of them. But
Really?
but that's kind of, there's not a lot of big high ranked teams going against each other next week that I found.
Okay.
All right, that's it. That's all I got. Coop.
But Florida State. Well, let me ask a little bit more about that. Just that Florida State, they upset the other Florida teams, right? Earlier this season, the other
They
big
beat
ones.
them. Yeah, they beat Florida. They beat Florida
and
UCF,
wasn't there
I think,
another
or-
one? Yeah, UCF.
Yeah, maybe USF, but that wasn't an upset. They should have beat them. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but they were on a hot streak, so that choked against Virginia, and Miami is pretty good. It sounds like pretty highly ranked.
Yep, still undefeated, number 3 ranked, looking
Wow.
good.
Dang. Okay. Well, it'll be the battle against the Floridians in college football this weekend. So that could be dangerous. All those Florida men running amok.
Yep.
You've seen those, right? The Florida man headlines, Dad.
No, I
That's
don't know about those.
That's ever since I've been in middle school. That's been a thing. Is like online.
Florida man.
Yeah, it's like it's like just a trope now where it's like Florida man punches gator in the stomach and then throws a stick of dynamite in the river.
Right, I understand that. Like Florida man, yes, as a headline to some sort of crazy news story.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yes,
So
I am familiar with that. I'm
So
thinking
anyways, that's
sports, man. I'm thinking sports when you're talking about Florida, man. I'm going, I don't think so.
Hey, I love Florida though. I always tell Macy I want to live there, but she
She needs to hold her own, because you know how Mom and I feel about that. So. Bad choice.
All right.
There are better places to live.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you for all of this. I'm like looking back at the notes. I had some good learnings this week. So all you listeners, thank you if you made it this far, and hopefully you learned something as well. Learned a thing or two. And I guess we'll just come back at you bigger and better next week. But in the meantime, in this crazy world we're living in right now, hopefully we can all find a little bit of something in common with sports and something to get our minds off things here and there. So
Definitely. I mean, we don't bring it. I mean, this is why this gives some alternative to our heartache and our heartbreak of the insanity that ensued this weekend, and following up on the other insanity. This hopefully just distracts a few people, and hopefully you can find a better place and be a better place to live.
Yep. Amen. All right. Well, Dad, let's sign off. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir.
And of course, if you're not following us on the socials, catch us there, mostly on TikTok and Instagram. I've been slacking a little bit the past few weeks, but I'm going to pick it back up, and send us a message.
You do great work. They need to jump on it. You do great work. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you. Well, and it helps when you guys send me stuff that you see that's in a meme or a headline or whatever. So send it our way so Dad can explain it and we can make some clips out of it. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much. Talk to you later, Dad.
See you, Coop. Love you.
Bye. Love you.
SportSense.